Sandra.
Meanwhile, White House Chief of Staff John Kelly facing some criticism after giving an emotional defense of President Trump and his efforts to console the Gold Star families left grieving after the attack in Niger. Take a listen.
I was stunned when I came to work yesterday morning and brokenhearted at what I saw a member of Congress doing. A member of Congress who listened in on a phone call from the President of the United States to a young wife, and in his way tried to express that opinion. He's a brave man, and he was where he wanted to be, exactly where he wanted to be, with exactly the people he wanted to be with when his life was taken. That was the message. That was the message that was transmitted. It stuns me that a member of Congress would have listened in on that conversation. Absolutely stuns me. And I thought at least that was sacred.
Newt Gingrich is a former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor, and author of the new political thriller, Vengeance. Speaker, thank you for joining us this morning. I feel like I just want to leave it there. I wish this country could have just left it there. So many of us saw and heard the words of John Kelly yesterday and thought this puts an end to it. But we woke up this morning not only hearing more criticism pouring in of the phone call with the president, but you also heard from the Congresswoman herself. Speaker?
Well, look, I think that John Kelly has served America, risked his life, lost his son in combat. I think Kelly stands for the best of American qualities. And I think yesterday he was a little bit like a grandfather trying to explain to a country that had lost its way. And unfortunately, there are some politicians and some reporters who've lost their way. This is, I think, tragic for America that we're going to turn commiseration to a Gold Star wife into a political football. And I thought that General Kelly was remarkably powerful, emotional, morally correct in what he said, the way he said it. And I'm with you. I think for somebody to not, you know, just shut up and leave it alone tells you, I think, the level of hatred on the left that's left them, frankly, a little bit deranged and unable to show any decency in situations like this.
And the Congresswoman herself already doing another major network interview this morning, putting more criticism on the president, quite frankly, even after John Kelly's words last night. I want to run these words of the Congresswoman Wilson by you, because a lot of people are trying to figure out what exactly this means. Listen.
Let me tell you what my mother told me when I was little. She said, the dog can bark at the moon all night long, but it doesn't become an issue until the moon barks back.
Were you able to make out those words?
I can make out the words, and look, the American political system allows a wide range of people to win elections. That doesn't mean they're wise. It doesn't mean they're knowledgeable. It doesn't mean that they have any sense of decency. It means they won an election. And I think what you saw in the very simple contrast, a man who has served his country for over 40 years, risked his life, lost his son, dedicated himself to defending America, and frankly a politician who doesn't know anything, has no shame, has no sense of understanding, and can't figure out the time has come to keep her mouth shut. Now, I think that's the contrast.
And the president, for his part this morning, he seems to have let this go. He is, however, Speaker, moving on to his agenda, and he is talking about tax reform. And there are aggressive timelines that are out there. We have big holidays coming up like Thanksgiving, Christmas. The American people are told they're getting you just heard from Kevin Brady, they're going to be getting a $4,000 to $5,000 tax raise based on these tax cuts. When does this get done now that we've got the budget approved?
Well, let me say, first of all, I thought that Paul Ryan was remarkably good last night at the Al Smith dinner and showed a side of him you don't very often see. I thought he delivered it well, and I think Ryan has dedicated his life over the last 4 or 5 years to getting us to this point. He and Brady are a great team in the House. They will pass the bill in early November. I'm much more aggressive than they are about this. I think they need to get this thing done. They need to get it done. I had tried to get them to get it done before Thanksgiving. They certainly cannot leave town without having passed it this year because we need the economic growth both to pay for our stronger military, as has been pointed out by Mark Short and others, but also we need the economic growth so people have take-home pay, have jobs. If the Republican Party by next summer is the party of economic prosperity, take-home pay, and jobs, we're going to win the election in 2018. If we're not, we have a problem.
Rand Paul said this is still not a bill he can support. He said he cannot vote for a budget that ignores spending caps, although he's all in when it comes to the tax cuts themselves. Speaker,